Yeah.
and then left with such a desire to want to meet you.
Oh.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announced their engagement in a way that felt both intimate and sure-footed. A simple, playful caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married," sat beneath a carousel of garden-lit photos. The images were calm and bright, more about the promise than the production. There was no magazine reveal, no red carpet microphone, just two people choosing a tone that matched the relationship they've shown for 2 years. Open enough to share, private enough to protect. It is the first engagement for both, yet it reads like the natural next chapter of a story that fans have followed from a near-miss introduction to a steady, public partnership. That introduction is now part of pop culture shorthand. In July 2023, Kelce attended Swift's Eras tour stop at Arrowhead Stadium with a plan: pass along a friendship bracelet with his number. The handoff never happened. Instead of letting the moment fade, he told the story on his podcast with humor and a bit of self-mockery. Swift later called the move metal as hell, a compact compliment that highlighted a rare combination in celebrity life: boldness without bravado, candor without calculation. In a world that often rewards careful staging, the exchange set a foundation made of something sturdier: good faith and good timing. A few months later, Swift appeared at a Kansas City Chiefs game. The camera found her in the suite, and the cutaways turned into cultural traffic. Football fans and Swift's global audience suddenly occupied the same frame. This was not a sponsorship or a stadium stunt. It was the natural overlap of two very public lives. The NFL gained a pop beat. Pop music borrowed a little of the game day spark. Neither space felt reduced by the other. If anything, the overlap emphasized how different spheres can widen each other rather than compete. From there, the rhythm of the relationship was steady and visible without becoming loud. Kelce kept the rigorous schedule of a professional athlete: travel, practice, film study, recovery, and the weekly test of game day. Swift continued the complex routine of a global artist: writing and recording, rehearsing and performing, sharpening a show that must feel alive in city after city. The partnership did not ask either person to shrink. It added a layer of support that showed up in small, constant ways: a sweet seat and a cheer, a backstage wave and a smile toward the crowd, a shared flight squeezed between deadlines. The message, repeated in actions rather than posts, was simple: this relationship fits. The engagement reveal carried the same message. The garden setting looked intentional but not ornate. Styling was polished without feeling staged for spectacle. The captions joke about English teacher and gym teacher translated two large public identities into familiar archetypes, words and movement, literature and athletics, without reducing either. As a piece of communication, it did several things at once. It confirmed the milestone, set the tone, and reminded the world that these two will decide how much of their private life becomes public. Restraint can be a kind of authorship. Here, it was the point. Online reaction came quickly. Many fans framed the news as the next page in a modern fairy tale, the bracelet that never reached its mark finally giving way to a ring. Others stacked timelines and traded theories. Rumors appeared about possible venues and guest lists, about the style of the ceremony and the music that might play. None of it was confirmed, and none of it needed to be. Swift and Kelce have shown they understand how to let speculation live where it belongs, outside the door. They give the public simple, clear signals, then step back and let the noise be noise. Behind the public glow, there is a practical reality that deserves credit. The NFL calendar is a machine. It demands early mornings, late nights, travel that isn't glamorous, and an unbroken chain of preparation. A world tour is its own machine. It runs on rehearsals, sound checks, logistics, and the constant pressure of performance. Merging these two schedules requires planning, patience, and honest talk about limits. The calm air around this engagement suggests that such systems already exist: shared calendars, agreed upon boundaries, and a habit of checking in. Those things rarely make headlines. They often make the difference. Their approach to public life has also been careful without being stiff. Many celebrity couples land at the extremes, either tightly guarded until everything becomes rumor, or endlessly displayed until nothing feels real. Swift and Kelce steer a middle course. They post enough to humanize the relationship and hold back enough to keep it whole. That balance builds trust with fans and buys room to adapt. It also protects the interior of the relationship from the pressure to perform every moment. Selective transparency is not coyness. It is stewardship. The caption itself works because it is light and precise. Your English teacher and your gym teacher invites the audience into a shared memory space, two roles everyone recognizes. In one line, the caption makes two global figures feel close and legible without pretending the scale of their lives is ordinary. It also captures something true about each person's craft. Swift's job is language and arrangement. Kelce's job is motion and discipline. The joke lands because it respects both. There is a wider cultural effect to acknowledge. When Swift steps into an NFL suite, people who don't usually track yardage tune in. When Kelce appears beside Swift's world, people who don't usually follow album cycles pay attention. The result is a kind of cross-pollination that makes both spaces feel broader and more welcoming. Sports and music are already large tents. This pairing widened the opening without turning either into a sideshow. That may be the most encouraging part of the story. It shows that two big lives can intersect with respect and that audiences can meet in the middle without losing what they love. The wedding planning phase will invite more attention. Some will picture a ceremony thick with stars and speeches. Others will hope for a quiet day with just family and a few close friends. The couple has the option to layer brand and philanthropy into the moment, or to keep it close and simple. Whatever they choose, the pattern so far suggests a clear rule: meaning first, volume second. A gentle caption and a handful of photos carry the engagement. The day itself will not need a louder voice to matter. After the wedding, the real work looks like ordinary life done well. Healthy partnerships depend on daily habits: checking in, sharing burdens, defending rest, keeping promises, apologizing without delay. Both Swift and Kelce already operate inside systems that demand those habits. It is not romantic to say that logistics support love, but it is honest. Protecting travel buffers, being where you said you would be, making room for the other person's peak seasons. These small acts built something that feels strong when the news cycle rolls on. Part of why people feel attached to this story is that it has been easy to follow without feeling exploited. The beats are clean, a near miss at a concert, a funny podcast story, a first public game, a year of steady appearances, a calm announcement. The arc is straightforward enough to retell, yet it leaves plenty of space for the parts that belong only to them. That combination, clarity with negative space, keeps the narrative sturdy. It allows the couple to write the next chapter at their pace. Media will continue to shape the story's edges, but the center feels settled. Two people with ambitious careers decided to formalize a bond that has looked sturdy for 2 years. The ring is small next to the size of their platforms. The promise is not. The photos are quiet next to the volume of their audiences. The commitments they represent are significant. The caption is short beside the essays that will be written about it. Its meaning is long. Sustaining this balance will not be simple. There will be weeks where travel piles up and hours shrink. There will be seasons in which each person's work leaves the other waiting. Rumors will flare. Comment sections will speculate. None of those pressures are new. What matters is the pattern they have already shown: clarity, restraint, humor, and the instinct to let the important moments breathe. These are durable tools. They do not prevent hardship. They help carry it. The engagement also models a way to be visible without being consumed. Many public figures either reject the gaze or try to feed it constantly. Swift and Kelce let attention exist as background. They step into it when they have news, and then step back when they do not. This rhythm frees them from the exhausting task of performing a relationship and gives fans a healthier view of what support looks like. Not staged kisses for a camera, but consistent presence across long, demanding months. For younger fans, and for anyone learning how to build a life with another person, the story offers a handful of clear lessons. Courage can look like telling a missed moment out loud and letting it be funny rather than perfect. Support can look like showing up with no speech and no script, just a nod from the stands or the wings. Boundaries can look like a caption that invites the world in while quietly drawing a line around what will remain private. None of this is complicated. All of it is hard to practice under a million eyes. The symbolism of the engagement is compact and strong. A ring stands in for a promise. A garden stands in for a future. A caption stands in for a tone. Each choice pointed to the same belief: meaning over noise. In an era that often confuses size with significance, the restraint was refreshing. It suggested confidence not only in the relationship, but in the audience's ability to understand a quiet message. As the months move forward, the narrative will keep evolving. There will be new songs and new seasons, new games and new cities, new headlines and new ordinary days. The test is whether the pattern holds. Affirm the milestone, honor the work, mind the boundary, and let the rest pass through. If it does, this engagement will feel less like a peak and more like a waypoint on a long, well-marked path. What makes the moment satisfying is its coherence. The engagement looks and sounds like the relationship that led to it. The humor traces back to a bracelet joke that never landed. The calm traces back to a year of public appearances that never felt forced. The clarity traces back to a steady habit of speaking directly when it mattered. Many stories wobble at the scale of this one. This story has kept its balance. So the announcement stands. An artist and an athlete, a caption and a garden, a promise made in a voice that suits them. The world will keep watching, because that is how the world works now. But the people at the center have shown they know where to look. They know when to wave, and when to close the door, when to speak plainly, and when to let an image carry the weight. In the end, that is the quiet power of this engagement. It is not a spectacle asking for applause. It is a vow asking to be kept. And it arrives with the steady confidence of two lives that have already learned how to move together, on a field, on a stage, and now in the space that belongs only to them.